G'day and welcome to the South African lawn. Okay, so I know I'm supposed to put this in the following videos, but just a sneak peek on how germinating grass seed looks. Oh, it is so exciting and so rewarding. Today's video is going to be all about my seeding project on Project Backyard, so stick around. Okay, so you're probably thinking, how can I do a seeding video but there's already germination in the backyard? Doesn't make sense, I know. I just want to apologize. I had a horrible tick bite fever, and as I shot the video my voice was all cracking, the audio was terrible, everything was terrible. So I'm going to talk you over what I did. I've got some footage of what I did there, and I hope you enjoy it. Stick around. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you my genius thought process, and I'm a passionate DIY guy, and I'm going to tell you what my expectation is of this lawn. Okay, so firstly I had to decide what grass type I wanted to go for, and straight off the bat I knew at this part I'm going to do a cool season grass. So I decided to go for a Kentucky Bluegrass, and I found a 100% Kentucky Bluegrass variety, so I stuck to that. And that leads me to my second point. Okay, so that takes you to what time of the year you want to seed in. Okay, so what time of the year is perfect for seeding cool season lawns? I would say probably in my area would definitely be in the fall or autumn. So that's what I did. Okay, so the three fundamentals for grass to germinate is your grass will need moisture, and it will need heat to germinate, and then it needs seed to soil contact for the roots obviously to grow into. So when I did the seeding project I had to keep that in mind all the time. Now I just want to go back and talk to you about what time of year to seed in. So when you choose your time of year, I try to choose a time when I know we wouldn't have too much severe rains or quick rains, if I can put it to you that way, because my biggest threat to seeding a lawn like this was probably going to be seed wash away, or in the middle of the summer obviously heat and dry out. So that was the biggest threat, and that's why I chose late fall, so that we can have as little as possible, or as controlled as possible, moisture on the seed. Okay, next thing is preparing your seed bed, and that's very, very important, okay, because that's going to ensure that you've got obviously a flat and level surface, and secondly it's going to ensure that you get good seed to soil contact and that all your elements should fall into place. Okay, preparing a seed bed. Okay, that's very, very important. That's the step that's probably going to take the longest, because preparation on this is key. Okay, so you want to prepare a nice, firm and as level as possible seed bed, because it is much easier to do it before, leveling beforehand than afterwards. And that's also going to determine whether your seed will have seed to soil contact or not. Okay, on my project I used a mixture that they had. I'm not 100% sure what they've got in it. So it's basically I think a manure and composting mix, mixed with 50% sand or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but it creates a very nice surface to seed on. So now you can think about your seeding, your actual seeding of your lawn. Okay, so my rating on the seed that I choose, it's a 100% Kentucky Bluegrass variety. It's called a fielder variety. I don't know what code it is. Okay, so the rating on that was 25 to 30 grams per square meter. and that equates to, I think, 2.5 to 3 kilograms per 100 square meters. Now I've got very close to 200 square meters here, so I just went with a full rate of 6 kilograms per 200 square meters, and that's basically what I put down. So now on to seeding. Okay, my thought was to divide up the lawn into 5 by 5 meter squares, and that would give me 25 square meter blocks. Okay, so I worked out the ratio, and it added up to 750 grams of seed per 25 square meters blocks. Okay, so I did that. The only reason why I did that was to ensure that the whole lawn area, or the whole intended area of seeding, gets the same amount of seed. So I didn't want to throw double the amount of seed on the one side of the lawn that I do on this side. Okay, so that's the only reason why. Okay, so now I've thrown down my seed. So now the next thing, that's why I say you want to keep the 3 fundamentals in mind. Okay, so now we want the seed to have proper seed to soil contact. Okay, so your seed can be underground, but I won't say it couldn't be more than 5 or 6 millimeters below the surface of the soil. You'll actually be fine having it lying on top, but then you've got a chance of it drying out a little bit quicker. So the next step is to take a rake, a steel rake preferably, and rake it very lightly so the top layer of soil and the seed mixes, but very light. You don't want your rake to stick in 30 mils or 40 mils into the ground and your seed falling all the way down there. So you want to rake it in very lightly, just to mix up the very top layer of soil and your seed. Okay, so I just want to talk to you about another method of getting seed to soil contact. So what I did was I raked the soil before I threw the seed down, and then I put the seed down. So this I did on my overseeding because I had plenty seed wash away. Okay, so I threw the seed down after I've raked the soil lightly, and then I threw organic matter. So I threw a compost over the seed, but just a very light dusting of compost, and that covered the seed quite nicely, and that works wonderfully as well. Okay, so now I've raked in my my top layer of soil and my seed together, so it looks as if most of it has disappeared. So the next step is to compact it. Okay, so on a big area like this, it is quite ineffective to trample it in, but it is an option. So if you've got a smaller area, you don't need a roller, but now I want to talk about the roller. So now I went with a roller, and a very light roller, and just roll it compact so that the top layer of your soil and your seed combines together and compresses so they can actually hold on to each other. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is there. I've seeded my lawn. It wasn't that difficult, and to be honest with you, I've chosen probably the slowest germinating variety there is, Kentucky Bluegrass, and still it isn't that difficult to do. So I wouldn't be demotivated. You just need a little bit of patience and time, because of the watering. It could feel like an agonizing process, but now the only thing I want to remember after this is to water. I've actually got 2 zones up here, so I'm watering each of them 4 times a day on different times. So I've got actually 8 timing schedules. Just a couple of minutes. I've got about 3 and 4 minutes on the different sections, so it's not that difficult. However, you want to keep in mind it does use quite a lot of water, so beforehand I don't want to say under budget, but this will also cost you some money, all the water that you're going to put down, the composting, the seed. However, seed is a lot cheaper than sod. I would say on this project of mine, it worked out about 1/5 of the price that normal kikuyu sod would have cost me. So it is cheaper, so where you spend a little bit more on watering, and in any case you have to water kikuyu, but this takes a little bit more water, but it does take less. So yeah.